Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of We Might Be Crazy. And today, in the studio, in the virtual studio, I have with me Honey Ducky. Welcome.
Hi.
Great to have you.
Hi, it's so lovely to be here.
Why don't you give us a little bit of an intro?
Yes, sure thing. My name's Honey Ducky. I'm a singer-songwriter who predominantly streams on Twitch. I stream music, a little bit of gaming here and there, but mostly music, going for like a cozy, comfy vibe, give people a place to relax. I'm a non-binary creator. I use they, them pronouns, and it's lovely to have you all here.
I wanted to give everyone a bit of backstory as to why I'm so excited about having this conversation with you. We talked about you coming on the podcast a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And probably a little bit before, obviously this conversation today, I raided into your stream and we talked a little bit about the podcast. But you said something super insightful. I was hoping you could kind of repeat for everyone here.
I don't know how insightful it was. You're giving me a lot of credit here. But I definitely was excited by the idea of this podcast because I think a lot of people see us on stream and it is fun and it looks entertaining and it seems like easy, I suppose, is the word that a lot of people use. But it's actually quite challenging and difficult. And it really resonated with me that I think we are a little bit crazy to be trying to do this because there's no right or wrong answer. There's no instant help. There's no quick fix way of succeeding. You don't know. The odds are random. There's no this will work, this won't work. It's try it, see what happens. And it's very, very daunting and very scary. And I'm just excited to shed some light on that and have someone expose what the industry is actually like, because it's not as simple as just hitting a button and then people showing up and being there. You have to do marketing, you have to learn about cameras, technology, sound equipment, recording, softwares. You have to learn about creating art to go with what you're doing, your overlays and your and branding. You have to create a whole brand. I've never made a brand for something before, and all of a sudden you have to brand yourself. It's crazy.
Had you heard of Twitch before streaming?
I obviously heard of it to get onto it.
Yeah.
But it was a weird segue. It was just a friend. I'm a very impulsive person.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest. I very easily influenced, very impulsive. So I had a friend. I was having a bit of a sulk because I felt like I couldn't do my music anymore. We were stuck in lockdown and all these things. And I was really sad. And they were just stream on Twitch. And I was like, what? And they're just go get a camera and stream on Twitch. And my partner was working from home and I literally went down the street while he was at work, bought a camera. I only had a laptop. I didn't have a PC. I didn't have anything that I needed. And I just set myself up and went live. I didn't even tell him. I just went live. I just was like, all right, let's do this.
I love that so much. And I think you and I might be a bit similar in respects of this impulsivity, because I had streamed on Twitch maybe 3 or 4 times and then decided that this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So impulsivity is something I definitely understand 100%.
Basically, I was just okay, cool. I had just recently lost my job as well. So I was I don't know what to do. I'd lost my job for being sick and I was this sucks. Everything sucks. I can't do anything anymore. I just felt I felt lost and I felt like I'd lost my ability to live because I got diagnosed with a bunch of stuff like an autoimmune disease, endometriosis, PCOS. My asthma was worse than it had ever been before because of everything that was going on. So I was struggling to just breathe through a normal day, anytime I left the house. Because my asthma got really bad during the fires.
Oh, I'm so
2019,
sorry.
because we were we had to evacuate and everything. So it was really smoky and my lungs got damaged. So I was a hairdresser before all of this. And so I was like, what do I do now? Like, I was so used to being run off my feet, busy all the time. And then all of a sudden I wasn't allowed to work and I had to find something to do. And I was like, so I just kind of like leapt into it. I was like, cool, I'm going to focus on this so hard. And it really empowered me and saved me. So I'm so grateful to it. And I don't think I'll ever stop because it's just given me so much opportunity and I've grown so much as a person through it.
And you just tend to learn so many different skills that you otherwise just would never have learned, right?
So much. I recorded and released a single and I did everything myself, start to finish. I did the artwork. I did the recording, I did the mixing, I did the artwork, I did all of it. I made a lyric video. I did it all myself in this room, start to finish. And I was so proud of myself. It was just like a mini project because I just wanted to challenge myself. And I was like, how much can I do on my own? And it turns out a lot.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
It was exciting.
I've not done anything close to that scale yet because I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to, I guess, the final stages. So I tend to get some help with some friends who do all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
doing it, had you actually learned, I guess, throughout that process, did you just kind of pick things up and it's like, all right, I'm going to do this part. Let's do a bunch of research. Or just kind of just dive in?
That's 100%
just kind of
how it went. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I spent many a moment being like, why is Pro Tools not working? Why can't I hear anything? And I was like sending the mix to the wrong bus or something. And I was like, what's a bus? I thought that's what school kids got on. I was like, what do you mean there's a bus? Like, I was so lost and I've learned so much. And I would like go on to my computer wouldn't run Pro Tools and YouTube at the same time. So I'd be sitting there with like Pro Tools up on my computer and then on my iPad watching a YouTube video on how to do something. Like, oh my gosh, save me person on the internet. Like, why does this reverb sound like ass? So there was a lot of that. So, I'm really stoked with how it came out.
That is just unreal to me. And I'm excited to delve into that a bit further, but I think we have a really great flag post. So this is kind of your present, right? We have present Ducky.
Yeah.
Being a boss, releasing, mixing, doing everything for singles. But I'm really curious to know what your musical background is like. What life was like for you before Twitch, and then I guess kind of getting to the point where Twitch and how your life has changed from that point onwards.
Yeah, before Twitch, I started singing in high school in choirs. So I just grew up mostly church choirs and school choirs and things like that. I didn't see myself as a solo performer. I saw myself as like an ensemble performer, backing vocalist, that kind of thing. I never really saw myself as a lead or a solo artist. I started learning guitar. My granddad gave me his old guitar when he got arthritis in his hands because he couldn't play it anymore and he wanted someone in the family to keep playing. Gave me the guitar, didn't know how to play it. So I, of course, did what any 15-year-old would do and jumped on YouTube and taught myself how to play the guitar because I needed to know how to do it. So I guess I've always, like, when it comes to music, that journey has been a very solo journey of learning things myself and accepting that it's hard to get lessons. It's expensive. It's hard to get resources. 100%. So you just find a way. So
I'm sensing a bit of a trend here with you just hopping in and just
it's
not really waiting. Well, no, I wouldn't call it impulsiveness. It just sounds like you are taking control of the things that you want to do and you're not letting, I guess, the minor point of inexperience to stop you from actually doing what you want to do.
If I want to achieve it, I have this toxic trait that I believe I can achieve it if I want to.
It's not toxic, Ducky. It's not.
It's
toxic.
a little bit toxic.
No, it's
Sometimes
not.
It is. Sometimes
we might be crazy.
100%.
We are. I'm the same. I just have this.
I'm
I want to succeed.
It.
You can do it.
I'm like, okay, so the issue I have is I'll see someone
Yep.
become big, like
Yep.
a celebrity.
Mm.
And I'll be like, so what do they have that I don't have? Nothing. Like, we all have the same amount of time in a day, same amount of hours. I'm like, we have the internet now, which is such a like huge resource. Like, I see like my biggest like influences and people like Dodie, MXM Tune, Cave Town, like those artists I love. They all started on the goddamn internet. So I'm like, I have the internet. Why not me? But before then, I didn't really think, obviously, this is now. But before then, I just wanted to learn how to play guitar. So I could sing like Dixie Chick songs and Johnny Cash with my family.
I love that.
I have a very country upbringing. Like, I lived like out on like a hobby farm. And so guitar and country music was very much the go. And I rode horses. Like, I basically felt like I was like a Hannah Montana. Like, I was so stoked with my life. It was so good.
Got the best of both worlds.
Legit. So legit. Yeah, and I sang in choirs and stuff. I didn't pursue a solo career until I was about 19, and that was due to lack of friends. I left school. All my friends went to uni. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt really lost. I lived with my sister for a little bit, didn't know what I wanted, moved back home, tried lots of different jobs, like didn't know what I wanted to do. But I used to play in like bands and things like that, and I really enjoyed that. And then to keep playing music, I decided, somebody asked me, I used to be in like a duo with another person who played guitar and sang, and I would play guitar and sing like occasionally, like 1 or 2 songs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I got asked by someone to play at their wedding.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But the other person, his name was Eddie. I was like, he's at like university. He can't make it. He's got like exams and stuff this week. He won't be able to play. And they're like, oh, we're happy with just you. And I was like, oh, I don't really do that. They're like, well, you should. And I was like, oh, okay. So before that event, I decided I needed some practice.
Yep.
So I had some friends that worked at cafes and things like that, as you do in your early 20s, and they would get me gigs where I would play for free because I wanted the practice, and I would sit in like the beer garden or like a courtyard and just like sit on my guitar and sing some songs, and just like a really chill vibe while people had like their Sunday sippers. It was such a nice vibe, and I fell in love with performing through that because the energy of that was just like amazing. So it started as like wedding ceremonies and the Sunday afternoon vibes, and then it turned into playing pub gigs every Friday and Saturday night, like local, because I live in such a small town. Word spread, everyone loved it, and then people wanted me to play more upbeat songs, and then it turned into playing like Friday night from like 10 till like 1 a.m.
Oh my god.
And then like I had to learn how to like set up a PA system. So I went to a music shop and I was like, I need to buy a PA system so I can play at pubs and stuff. But the biggest issue I had was I'm a small person.
Yep.
The biggest issue I had was he was like, oh, we have this. And I was like, I need to see how heavy it is.
Yeah.
And if I can lift it onto the speaker like stand. Because a lot of the time the speaker stand would be too high up that I couldn't like lift the speakers onto the stand.
Yeah.
And so I found a set that I really liked. It was too heavy. So then I got a gym membership and I went to the gym and they were like, why are you signing up today? And I was like, I want to be able to lift my speaker in and out of my car and onto the speaker head. So I started doing like deadlifts, like bench presses, squats. Like I got a PT. And I was like, I need to learn how to lift without hurting myself. And the PT, because it's a small town, they were so lovely. They were like, when you buy your music gear, bring it with you in the car and I'll teach you how to like lift it properly in and out. And we set up the speakers and they taught me how to lift everything. It was so good. It was so lovely. Her name was Beth and she's such a star for that. So yeah, so I had to like get strong as like a little, I was 19, I was like a twig. I'm so small, and I was just like, if I had tried to lift that speaker without going to the gym first, I would have snapped. I just know it.
I like I keep saying, I think I've got this image of you now where you are driven and you're not letting like barriers or obstacles stop you from doing the thing that you want to do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do like it. Sometimes I do get stopped. I was
Yeah.
in a band up until last year, maybe the year before. I can't remember now when I left. But I was in a band. I was playing bass and doing backing vocals. The band was called Two Last Names, and I loved them so, so dearly. And I was just having last year I had a big flare up with my illnesses and stuff, and I was in hospital, out of hospital, in hospital, out of hospital, sick, not sick. And the band started doing really well. It went from being a casual thing to becoming like a really big thing, and it was doing really well.
Yeah.
But I couldn't keep up. I couldn't make the drive into the city to play these gigs and to play these shows, and I couldn't commit to these shows because I'm like, what if I get sick and we have this big live show? Like, they had this big show and it was like at a festival and they were really excited, and all I felt was fear of getting sick and not being able to play this show. And I was like, I stepped down because I was like, I can't let them down and I can't commit to this. So I actually like took a step, and it was heartbreaking to be like, I don't think I can do this. When it's just you, it's a little bit easier because I was like, the only person I let down is me, and I can make it up to me. But yeah, I guess the live shows and stuff are quite daunting when I was quite sick. I'm doing better now, which is good. So yeah, we'll see. Live shows may come back.
How long were you in the band for?
I was in the band for, it was before COVID. So a couple of years. Yeah, about 3 years, I think.
Yeah, I completely understand how hard it must have been to step away and just say, I kind of need to prioritize my health. And
especially when like I used to see them once a week. Like we practiced like multiple times. Like, you practice once a week, you play a gig once a week. Like you see these people 2 times a week for hours, and you have so much shared experience and joy, and you're writing songs. Like, they're basically reading your diary and then turning it into songs together. Like, so full on. And then to just have to walk away as they're doing well, as the goal you're working towards is getting closer, and you have to be like, ugh.
I think the thing I've realized, because I've never done gigs until recently. So I actually started doing streaming before gigging.
Oh, the other way around. Let's go.
And I think I've had this element now where I'm just like, I'm so comfortable doing this that to have to tear all this down, pack up my stuff, carry it over to the gig.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And that's why I love the story of you having to do PT stuff to kind of, and then performing for 4 hours and then packing it up and then going away. It's a lot.
I sprained my wrist once packing up my speakers. I played for 4 hours. I was really tired because it was a Friday night gig. So I was working full time as a hairdresser. So I was on my feet all day already and like using hair dryers and stuff. So I was on my feet all day. I drove an hour to this venue, set up, played for 4 hours. As I was packing up, I was trying to get the speaker off and it slipped and I sprained my wrist.
Yeah.
That was the first speaker. I still had like other speakers to do and everything. And then you have to carry it to the car in the car park, and I had sprained my wrist. So I was like, what do I do? It's the middle of the night. You can't just call someone and be like, hey, I've sprained my wrist. Can you come help me? Because it's like 1 a.m. Who's gonna answer their phone at 1 a.m. to drive an hour to come help you pack up your speakers? Like, it's so tricky. And you can't ask any of the bar staff or things like that because they're busy. They're packing up. Like, it's the end of the night. You have to do it within a certain amount of time because security's only there for a certain amount of time. And I want, as a young femme presenting at 1 a.m. going back to my car with equipment. It's just not safe to do it when the security isn't there. So I couldn't take the time to like ice it and then like rest it and then like move my stuff or wait for someone to come get to me. I just had to suck it up and do it. And then I had a first aid kit in my car, and I remember like compressing it really hard, and I could feel it already swelling, and I had to drive home, and I was in so much pain driving home. It was so rough. And I just remember getting home and just like I was so tired, and I had to call work the next day and call in because I couldn't work. Like you can't work with a sprained wrist when you work with your hands. It was so awkward.
So in terms of your timeline, we talked a bit about you going from the cafe into the bar gigs. Was this all before that you did the wedding?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I did the wedding, and then I got into like wedding gigs.
Wow.
Yeah, I did one wedding, and then someone was there and they were about to get married, and then I played their wedding, and now I still do weddings. I really love the wedding vibe. It's so much fun. Down here, because we're in the country weddings are really big.
Yeah.
And I can give that like folky country vibe, but still modern that a lot of people like. I don't know, something about my music, people are like, wedding. They're like, this is good for a wedding. I've adapted. Like if there's going to be kids at the wedding, I have like a bag of joke instruments, like little maracas and like.
I love that.
And I like set them out on the lawn, and they look pretty as well. So photographers always take photos of them.
Yeah.
And things like that, right down to like the wedding gigs, and the Twitch has kind of like overlapped. I actually in November last year played a wedding for a Twitch streamer that I met through Twitch. So Walkerman is a Australian Twitch partner.
Yep.
And we became friends through streaming, and we met like in person a couple of times, and then he asked me to play at his wedding, and it was fantastic, and I had the best time. It was so good, and we're actually really, really good friends now. So like when I go to the city, I'll stay at his house. They've got a spare room. Like I'm really good friends with him and his partner, and they're friends with me and my partner, and it's lovely.
That's amazing.
So it was kind of like a when worlds collide moment.
It's a bit surreal, I guess, kind of looking back on that event. You're just like, this is all just kind of intersecting
it's
here a
all
little
just
bit.
like it's like everything had led up to that moment.
Yeah.
And the craziest part of it all was that his partner, I was like messaging her, I'm like, hey, so like what songs do you want? Like, because I was playing the ceremony and the reception. I was like, what do you want to walk down the aisle to? Like, this is important. If you want me to learn a particular song, I need to know now so I have time to learn it. And she was like, oh, I actually have a weird request. And I was like, oh, it can't be that weird. Like, it's a wedding. She wanted an original of mine that I had on Spotify. So I actually played my own song for someone to walk down the aisle to, and it was wild. It was so hard not to cry.
Like, there aren't many moments where I would think, oh, how would I feel in your shoes playing one of my original tunes for someone to walk down the aisle to? And I think I can't even imagine how special that must feel for you.
It was so lovely.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't even know what to say. Like, of course. I was like, the song's yours. I don't even want it anymore. It's yours now. Like, take it. Put your name on it. I don't care. Like, I'm like, that's so sweet. That's so beautiful. I actually sent them like the masters to the song.
Yeah.
So if they make a wedding video or anything, they're welcome to like use it and everything.
When was the wedding?
The wedding was in November.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, last year. So
wow.
so surreal.
So then that is a really great segue into the beginnings of Twitch.
Yes,
For Ducky.
legit.
So COVID's happened. You've had kind of just a series of unfortunate events kind
Pretty
of happen
much,
to you.
yeah.
And you got recommended by a friend to stream on Twitch, and then you went out and bought a camera and then just hit go live. Like,
Yeah.
tell me about that point onwards. what was it like for you?
It was hit or miss. It was so wild. At first, I didn't know how to talk to a chat. I didn't know what a subscriber was. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what an affiliate was. Didn't know what Twitch partner was. I just hit live. And then people would come into chat and be like, where are all your commands? What are you doing? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. You tell me. Like, what do I need to be doing?
Yeah.
So I met a lot of people who were really, I guess, nasty at the start because people were like, this is shit. What are you doing? And then I had lots of people that were really nice that were just like, oh, you don't know anything about Twitch. I can help you. And I met so many lovely people, like all my moderators and things like that at the start who helped me find my branding and stuff. I'm very, very lucky in the sense that my partner at the time, after he originally saw me go live the first time and was like, that was a mess, don't do that again. He's a graphic designer and he created like overlays and emotes for me. He'd never made like emote art before, so he spent some time like making that for me, making overlays, making like panels and making it pretty for me basically. And he set up, I'm not very good with computers. So he set up everything for me. He like fixed my camera settings, helped me with audio, helped me with, he was just a little bit more tech savvy than me.
Yeah.
And helped me with all that kind of stuff. And I was a bit lost because I was so used to using like a mixer and like not using a computer. So
you're using a DAW to kind of input your audio into OBS? Is that?
No, not anymore. I actually upgraded my equipment and got a mixer because I still prefer a mixer.
I'm the same. I prefer something physical because
I prefer something physical. It's just easier for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I grew up like using. So I guess I will prefer it. I'm a bit of a boomer, I guess, in that way.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
Yes. I like working with my hands and I don't understand it all when it's on the screen and I'm like panic. I'm like, what if one day like my screen breaks or something and I need to like turn all my volume down or something and I can't? I don't know. It's weird and panicky, but
what was it like? So you've basically just said or kind of gone through the journey that every new musician or every new streamer goes through where you realize I have to learn how to use camera. I have to learn how to mix audio. I have to learn how to set up OBS. I have to learn how to set up, overlays, panels, emotes. It all gets a bit overwhelming, doesn't it, at the start?
The hardest part was learning Twitch etiquette.
Yeah.
There are unspoken rules on this platform that I definitely broke when I first started because I did not know there were unspoken rules.
What are they?
Obviously don't self-promote.
Yeah.
I broke that one. Like I'm despicable. I'm a bad person. But I didn't know what the platform was like.
Yeah.
I would just like come in, people would be like, what have you been up to? And I was like, oh, I just finished a stream as well. And they're like banned. And I was like, fuck, what did I do? And then I only did it once.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for it. And I messaged the person and I was like, I'm really sorry. And then I later learned and I sent them another message and was like, hey, I'm super sorry. And they unbanned me and they were like, you're fine. You knew, you didn't know. I was like, I honestly had no idea that you weren't supposed to say that. I was like, it makes total sense now that somebody has explained it to me. Yes, it is rude. It is a bad thing to do. You should raid into people. I was like, I didn't know how to raid into people. I thought if I ended stream and I jumped in your stream, I had raided you. I was like, I had not. So I was just jumping into people's stream, writing a raid message after I ended stream and couldn't figure out why everyone wasn't coming with me. Because I would just tell them where I was going. I was like, we're going to this stream afterwards. And then I would just click end stream. I didn't know how to raid. I spent like the first 3 weeks of streaming not knowing how to raid.
So if it makes you feel any better, I was very, very lucky because my first stream, I met a bunch of people that would become my moderators. And if I didn't have that, I would have 100% done this exact same thing.
Oh, it makes me feel better. I just know I was a bad person the first First month on Twitch, I was not a good person. I broke all the rules.
I think there's a big difference between being a bad person and just being a little uncertain of what the etiquette is.
I also did no BTTV emotes or like a lot of the slang used on Twitch.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's Kek W? Why is everyone running around writing Kek W? What does that mean? I was like, I don't know what this means. I don't know what these words are. And people would write it in my chat. And I was like, am I doing something? I thought SMH for ages was shaking my head.
Wait, isn't it?
It is? No, I thought it was so much hate. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I thought it was so much hate. And it's actually shaking my head. And so people would be like, I would say something a little bit embarrassing and people would be like, SMH. And I was like, oh, they hate me. I was like, oh no.
And it's just really interesting to hear you kind of talk about this experience because I like I said, I didn't come from I don't watch a lot of Twitch. I love the community. I love streaming, but I can't say that I'm a big consumer of content. So I think for a lot of people who might eventually come on to stream on Twitch might actually just be like, I don't know anything about the etiquette, the kind of vernacular, what people are doing. Like this is kind of a bit, and it actually might be a little bit off-putting for some people.
That's legit. I honestly believe that that's legit. I remember when my mum didn't understand what Twitch streaming was. And it was a really hard... She thought I was a cam girl.
Oh, no!
So I had to try and convince them that I was not because they were like, I don't want to hear about it. Like, they were just like, we don't want to know. And I was like, it's not what you think. Please just let me talk. It's not what you think. They're like, if you're that desperate for money, we'll pay you. Like, you come live home with us. And I was like, no, it's not like that. Not like that, by the way. I do believe that that's very valid work and it's not desperation or anything like that. It's just my boomer parents think differently. And so I got them to come over and be on a stream. I was like, I'm going to show you what it's like to stream. We're going to do it together so you know that it's not like a big scary thing. You had your parents
on the stream?
I have my parents on stream.
I love that.
Yeah. My chat were bullies. I have like a redemption where I have to wear cat ears and they made me put cat ears on my dad and my dad's like a very country bloke, like beard, bigger guy. He's a truck driver. Like he's like a blokey bloke and he's just sitting there with cat ears on in my pink room. Just like dying. I could see the light in his eyes fade. He was like, he's never been so humiliated. No, he loved it. He was such a good sport. He had a good laugh. Mum was confused about like people's usernames. Like somebody came into my chat and their name's Big Titty Bob. And Mum's like, who's this person called Big Titty Bob? And I was like, that's my friend, Mum. And Mum's like, you have a friend called Big Titty Bob? I'm like, that's not their real name. It's a username, so you don't tell people your real names online, like safety online stuff. Like I've never thought I would have to give my parents a spiel about talking to strangers online and why it's not like 100% safe to use your real name and things like that. But yeah, they got there in the end and they actually love the streaming thing now. They think it's really cool. My mum doesn't understand it. She doesn't know how to talk in the chat or anything like that. But she does watch on occasion, which I think is lovely and also terrifying because I never know when she's there or when she's not. She hasn't signed up for a Twitch account, so she just watches without signing in.
The unregistered into experience.
Because she can't figure out how to log in.
Yeah.
She's like, what's my password? I'm like, I don't know, Mum. What is your password? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well then I can't help you.
My dad watches streams and he sometimes comes in and chats, but I haven't told anyone who he is, what his account is. Oh. So I treat him like every other chatter.
That's cute.
He doesn't want to be like, oh, like it's Aiden's dad. Oh.
Yeah.
He's just a chatter.
That's cute. I love that.
I'm really curious to hear. So, how long have you been streaming for in total, do you think?
I started in September 2020.
Wow, this will be your third year. How does that feel?
I cried on New Year's Eve because I've been doing this for 2 years and I felt like I haven't really gotten where I wanted to be with it. And I'm a very driven person. I have big goals. Yep. So I have high expectations for myself. And it's not something I can control, which is really hard. And I really had my eyes set on Twitch partner. And I'll be honest, if I didn't say I've been close and not getting it is like I got so close to being able to apply, and then I got really sick and I ended up in hospital in December last year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's my life. And I remember just being so heartbroken because I felt like Twitch is a very fickle thing. If you take a bit of a break, you lose that momentum that you had and you have to start again, what feels like. And I was so close, and then I came back and it was back to like 30 to 40 average viewers, which is fantastic. So fantastic. But you need 75 without rates to apply for partner. That's not even guaranteed. So it's just so much work. And I just got so upset, and I was just really, really, really wanted this thing. And I don't know why I wanted it. I don't know why I felt like that tick would validate so much. I just wanted it so it was easier to explain to other people, to outsiders, why I do what I do, because they're like, you're just like everybody else who's just like trying to get rich and get famous online. You're not really like, it's not real work. You just hit go live. And I was like, no, it is real work. And I felt like if I had that partner, I could say, look, no, I'm partnered with Twitch. Like I'm like a professional.
You're already a professional in my eyes, Ducky.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm really curious. Have you? Because this is something that I've also dealt with a fair bit as well, is managing my own expectations, but also looking at other people's success and comparing myself to that.
Constantly.
Have you got any, I guess, tips or tricks or strategies of how you've been able to, I guess, manage that in your own head?
I had a very, very nice friend tell me when I was upset one day that rising tides raise all ships, which really helped me. You should always try to grow in a cluster, make friends, because rising tides raise all ships. You don't want to compare yourself to others. You don't want to compete with them. You want to like raise them up with you. And that really helped, because whenever I felt like I was struggling, what I tend to do is whenever I'm feeling, I guess, jealousy, envy, any of those feelings, I try to turn that into a way of helping someone else. And then I feel better. And I guess that takes the altruism away from helping someone. But if you're helping someone, you're helping someone. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, I think. So, for instance, I was feeling a bit shitty about not being a Twitch partner. I have a friend who was Twitch partner. I have another friend who's trying to get Twitch partner, and they're really close. And so I reached out to them, and I know they were struggling. They have a son, and they were having some issues with homeschooling him and not being able to like make their usual shorts and YouTube content. And what I did was I got them to send their clips, and I edited them for them and sent them back to them.
That's so amazing.
Just to save them some time, and made me feel better about not being able to be where I'm at, because that was something that was out of my control, and I can still help others, and we can rise together.
That's the thing I'm most excited about in terms of Twitch music, and just kind of stuff that's happening, especially in Australia, is I kind of see Twitch music as the next kind of big thing.
Yeah,
on Twitch.
I really feel that. Yeah.
And it's really amazing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
No, totally fine.
I just love the community side of it. Like, I feel like we haven't spoken that much. I guess parasocial relationships probably like play into it, but I feel close to you. I feel
Absolutely.
like I feel like I see you once a week on my screen, That's more than I see a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I see Aiden once a week. We're good pals. Like, chat
But
to them
there
once
is a
week.
sense also, in addition to that, like you and I are kind of both on the same journey, and you don't tend to meet many people in the real world who are doing the same thing that we are. And there is a sense, like a huge sense of camaraderie with that, I think.
100%. I think one of the best things I did was go to PAX last year.
Oh.
In October, which is a gaming convention.
Yeah.
Yes. But believe it or not, I actually met 2 other Australian music streamers at PAX last year, which included, oh my gosh, names. Oh, I'm so dyslexic. I was like, which included Aiden. It wasn't you. It wasn't you.
I was
my
there in
brain
spirit.
can only think of your name right now. No.
That's okay. We can come back to it. But yeah, I've been wanting to go to PAX. It's a gaming convention, but I mean, we are basically just part of that
nerds.
ecosystem now, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I play video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I had to
do
pick up
sometimes.
a casual job because
Yep.
Twitch doesn't pay all my bills. Just to pay for medical expenses.
Mhm.
And I actually picked up a casual job at EB Games.
Oh, amazing.
So I just do like a couple of shifts. They're like 3 hours here and
Yep.
there to just like top up.
Yeah.
On those low months or the months where I have to go to a specialist appointment that costs like $300 and it's like a
Yeah.
15-minute Zoom call and you're like, why? Why is that $300? Why? And they're like, yeah, but you get like 100 back from Medicare. And I'm like, that's great, but I have to have the 300 first
Yeah.
to get the 100 back. And it's like, that's not fair.
But I'm the same. I work a casual job just to kind of tide me over,
Just
pay
gotta
for
top
half
it
of my
up
expenses.
just a little bit.
Yeah. It's just, and I'm really curious to hear what you think about this, because I've gone from, I guess, working in the tech space where, I had a really well-paying job, and then I got made redundant, and then I went over to stream music full-time because I'm like, there's no opportunity like now where, I'm kind of on the way up, hopefully, and then I might as well just take a jump here. And I kind of realized how much I actually needed to live in terms of just monthly expenses, and how much I was able to trim everything down to a point where I can live working 2 days a week, working retail, and also stream full time.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I had to, like you said, you have to trim. We got a housemate. That helps. I don't buy as many clothes. I fix a lot more things. Spend a lot more time learning new skills this way. Like, if I get a hole in my clothes or a button falls off, I don't go out and buy new pants. I sew it back on. Yeah. I like sew a hole or a patch, or like I'll fix it. So I guess, yeah, a lot of that comes into play. I'm grateful though. Like, I think I have a very supportive partner who works full time, and I wouldn't be able to do it without him. If I was going to be completely honest, if I was on my own, I think I would be too scared to make the jump. So I do have to give credit where credit's due there.
It's the same with me. I think the common theme that I've found with a lot of the creators I've spoken to over the last, I've had, this is the 4th, and every creator I've spoken to has had support in the form of a partner, myself included.
Yeah. Life's hard. Buddy system.
Life is hard.
Buddy system. You gotta do that shit in pairs.
But I'm really curious to hear at what point, because we've talked a bit about, I guess, setting expectations and elements of disappointment and not hitting those goals. But I want to hear a bit more about the other side of things, where it comes to, at what point did you think, this is it, I want to do this for the rest of my life, this is my full-time career? How long into your journey did you make that decision, and how did you feel when you made that?
I made that decision probably about 12 months into my journey. First 12 months was a steep learning curve. I did a lot of gaming streaming, didn't do a lot of music.
Hmm.
I had honestly let my music career die in a hole.
Hmm.
I was like, it's over for me. I'm just going to play bass in this band. I'm
Yep.
not going to do much else. I can't play live. I'm too sick. All this other stuff. And yeah, and then the band thing started to fall apart. And I was like really missing music. And someone spotted I had left. So I didn't have this original setup with all my guitars and stuff in the background. That's very lovely and pretty. But someone spotted I had like a desk that you could see in the background and a ukulele. And someone was like, oh, do you play? And I was like, oh, yeah, a little bit. And they're like, can you sing us a song? And I sang a song, and I had like 25 to 30 viewers at the time. And they were like, what are you doing playing games? This is so much better. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, what? And they were like, we don't want to watch you play games anymore. Close that game. We're done with it. More ukulele, please. And then I decided that when we hit our first like 1,000 followers, I was like, we'll celebrate. We'll do something special. And I did my first ever music stream.
Yeah.
And I set it all up, and it took so long to figure out how to set up my guitars to run through like OBS and everything. And I was like, this is so much work. I'm never going to do this again. It's like, oh, I hate it. We did it, and it was like the best stream I've ever had. Like, not so much numbers, just vibe, feedback from chat. I had the most active chat. I had like a really supportive chat, and they were just like, it made me feel like maybe I can do this. And I think that was the turning point for me. I was like, people do like my music. People do. I still want to share that side of me with the world, because it is something I am so passionate about, and is the love of my life, is music. And how could I give it up? How could I not give it a go? I would regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't just do this. I have to do this.
There's so much to unpack there. Wow. I actually didn't know when you initially started on Twitch, you were just doing gaming.
Just gaming. Yeah.
Yeah. That is really, I guess, of the people I've spoken to so far, like most of them have been, I just want a way to perform, so I went to Twitch.
No, I just wanted a way to not be alone.
Yeah. And
yeah.
And then your community's like, you gotta do music now, Ducky.
Yeah.
There's no decision on your part. This is what we want.
Yeah. So I had music released as my legal name, which we shall not know.
Yeah.
So I had music out, and it did terribly on Spotify. Didn't even reach 1,000 plays, so it won't even tell you how much like it has been listened to. I rebranded it all and released it as Honey Ducky. So I rebranded the whole album, like it's a little EP, put it out. It's like, that was a year ago, I think. Let me check. That I rebranded it. So I had to start from scratch when I rebranded it and put it back on Spotify. And it's now, like, one of the songs is sitting at 7,500 and
amazing,
like 16 listens, which is not, it's not like heaps. I'm not like going to be a star, but it's way more than what it did have. And that was when I was like playing live gigs, putting all this effort in physically and like mentally, and like doing all this work, having to book gigs, having to organize yourself, driving, petrol, fuel. It was so expensive to just get out there and do stuff. And I had to book in time at a studio and go record, because I didn't have any recording equipment before stream.
Yeah.
And now I look at it and I'm like, and now I have this single that I made all from my room, and I'm like, wow.
Does it kind of blow your mind a little bit when it comes to having a community of people who encourage you, who like your music, who show up to all of your streams? Because it's still something that I sit back and really reflect on, as it just kind of blows my mind constantly.
It makes me feel sick.
Okay.
It makes me so anxious. There's all these people that just want me to do well, and I'm like, why though? Why do you want me to do so well? Like, it's so lovely. It makes me feel sick. I don't understand how someone can, the crowd from an alcoholic pub to people sitting at home on their phones, computers, TVs, watching you, actively watching you. People at the pub, you're there. They've come to the pub regardless of who's playing.
Yep.
Right? Twitch, there's so much other things they can watch. They've come to see me. It's a very different community. People at the pub don't really care. You go to have a break and they're like, no, play more. Like, and you're like, I've been playing for like 2 hours. I just need to go to the bathroom. Give me a sec. On Twitch, I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to take a break. And they'll be like, make sure you drink some water. Make sure you stretch your legs. Like, take your time.
I love that.
Do what you've got to do. We'll see you when you get back. We'll be waiting. And I'm just like, the vibe.
What did I do to deserve
so
this?
Different. Yes, exactly. The vibe is so different. And you just like, not only do you have a community, but you have a community that wants to see you succeed and take care of yourself, which is wild to me. Like, if you cancel a live show, people get angry. People get angry. Cancel on Twitch, like, I'm so sorry, I'm sick. Everyone's like, get better soon. Can't wait for you to get back, but make sure you rest up. Like, nobody's out there being like, oh, why didn't you show up?
Oh, I love the distinction between pub gigs and live gigs because you're right. It's a completely different audience. And I've told this story before, but the biggest thing I had to grapple with was when you're playing a live show at a pub, like you said, people aren't there to listen to you. They're just here to have a drink and chat with their mates. So you finish playing a song, no one's going to clap. Or some people might kind of give you like a, oh, yeah, like, that was pretty cool.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
But it's robotic.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've covered, I guess, your beginnings, how you started on Twitch, some of the challenges that you've gone throughout your journey, and then how your community forced you to switch to I love that so much, by the way. That's
They bullied me.
They bullied you into playing music on stream.
Yeah. They're pretty cute about it though.
What is, I guess, thinking about long term now, what do you see for you? Like, what, so you mentioned that you're quite a driven person. What have you set out for yourself over the next few years, and what would you like to accomplish?
I would like to hit Twitch partner, hit YouTube partner.
Yep. Yeah, me too.
I would like to release another EP, and I guess I would like to go back to doing live shows, but I don't want to do covered live shows. There's a difference. There's a difference between playing a gig and playing a show. I want to play a show. I want to play my originals, like, at a show. Like, I want people to pay tickets to come see me. I want that. I want the Twitch experience live, like, in front of face to face. And I don't know how I'm going to get that, but I will somehow get it. I want to, like, either open for someone, open for an act, or, like, I don't know. I did reach out to one of the organizers at PAX. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Would be cool to play at PAX.
We should band together. I've spoken to a few other Australian musicians. We should just come together and be like, hey, there's 5 of us. Let's do sets. Let's do a show. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Looking at you, PAX.
We're coming for you. If not, I have been thinking as well, we could have our own show. I have been, like, thinking about, I used to organize my own events and things like that. And I'm like, how hard would it be to hire a venue? This is me being, like, a crazy impulsive again. And I'm like, how hard would it be to, like, hire a venue, get, like, 2 or 3 artists in, and advertise it on Twitch and on our social medias and have a show?
Do you follow Mogul House at all on Twitch?
No.
So they are a Californian-based, or LA-based rather, music collective.
Is that Lily
Closure
Pichu?
Club, Bishop.
Is that Lily Pichu?
No. So this is
That's a different house.
This is a different house. But this is kind of just specifically based on music, and they do these big live events where they kind of hire out a venue. They play at, like, a cafe. They bring their cameras. They kind of fully integrate Twitch and live. So I've been speaking to a few other Australian streamers. Like, that is definitely something that we could do, especially around PAX time as well.
Yes, that would be so good.
Yeah.
Yes, because people are going to come from Sydney, from like all around Australia to Melbourne for PAX. And I'm like, half my community is going to be there already. I would love to play a show around there. So if I can't play at PAX, we should try something at least.
Absolutely.
One of the nights, surely. But there's all the partner parties and stuff. So I was thinking maybe we could do like a daytime show.
Or just all the shows. We play at the partner party.
Deal.
Wow.
We're going to get partner and play at the partner party.
Absolutely. You and I
With
are going to hit partner this year.
We're going to grow in a cluster together.
Yes.
You and me. Because
it's going to happen.
We're going to raise the tides.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And what I like to normally finish up on, we've been chatting for an hour and it has been the most wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for coming on.
That went so quick. Has it been an hour?
It's been an hour. It's been longer than an hour. It's crazy. Who inspires you? Whether that's I want to keep it to Twitch specifically because if I look back on my year and a half, coming up to 2 years on Twitch, I can kind of name all the people who I've kind of taken a lot of inspiration from. But I'm really curious to see or kind of hear from you who has inspired you on your journey and kind of who would you like to shout out?
Oh, Hazy.
Hazy, yes, 100%.
Yes. Chris Miller.
Yeah.
Nixus and Lily Pichu.
All fantastic creators. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that you want to plug, tell us about, things you've got coming up?
I'm heading into the recording studio on the 18th of next month.
Oh my God.
So new music soon. Make sure you check out my Spotify and my YouTube for that. Because I have been recording very, very lame, very cringeworthy lyric videos in this room that I dress up for and I have a lot of fun creating. And yeah, you can catch me on stream, and that's it. That's all I've been doing lately.
What's your schedule like?
It's hard to have a schedule when you're chronically ill.
Yeah, of course.
It's a very loose Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday schedule.
Cool.
6 p.m. ish, but very loose. I am actually going to Dodie this weekend. I'm so excited. I'm going to go see one of my like biggest inspirations, who was started on YouTube. And I'm going to go see her live tomorrow.
I'm so excited for you. That's going to be so great.
I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
I'll also link your Discord as well in the description.
I have that one of those. I have all the things. It's hard to keep up with them all.
Click on that and do your thing.
Ta-da!
Ducky, thank you so much for coming on. This has been such a
me.
wonderful conversation, and I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.